Welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show, where joy isn't a reward for productivity, it's the secret ingredient. I'm your host, Nicole Louise, coach, wife, and dog mom. This is a no-kid zone by design, created for women who are child-free, childless, or an empty nester embracing your next chapter. You all belong here. Each week, you'll hear inspiring stories from women around the world and learn tools, mindset shifts, and practical strategies for living a joyful life. You'll also discover the science behind why focusing on joy fuels focus, motivation, and lasting productivity. Let's get inspired, get organized, and create a life full of freedom, focus, and joy. Welcome to the Positively Joyful Productivity Show. You know what? I always say I'm excited. Today, I'm a little extra excited because my guest and I are going to talk all about AI tools, and I just can't wait. I'm so giddy over this. So, with me today, I have Sarah Williams, who is the founder of Leading Culture. And Sarah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Nicole. It's amazing to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited that you're here. Obviously, I've said excited about 20 times already. But I truly am really excited. There it is again, to get into this topic with you today. I think that you're my first actual guest who we're going to talk AI. So let's jump into
Oh,
it.
I feel deeply honored by that, so I'm excited too.
Oh, yay. Right. So, Sarah, when we chatted previously, you shared that you use ChatGPT and you've created some GPTs of your own specifically from meal plans to shopping lists to exercise and injury recovery plans, even travel itineraries, coaching for life and business, and decluttering. So you've pretty much covered the gamut. So you're a ChatGPT junkie just like myself. And
Yes.
I'd love to know what's the coolest or most surprising way that it's made your life easier, faster, or just plain better?
Without doubt, without exception. So I've been following a lifestyle plan. I'm not going to say it's a diet, but other
Hmm.
people may call it a diet. I've been following a lifestyle plan since April, and there's a lot of recipes within that plan that we can create and stuff. And we've been cooking them with our family, and some of them we love, some of them we don't. And one day I had this great idea that what would happen if I uploaded all the recipes, told ChatGPT what calorie intake I wanted to hit, what protein intake I wanted to hit, what fiber intake I wanted to hit, and said, please create my meal plan. And so 7 days with a meal plan, and please create the shopping list off the end of it as well to serve 4 people. Um, and it did it all within seconds. And prior to that, prior to me having that great idea, I had probably sat for 2 or 3 hours going, what should we have this week? Planning out the week, thinking about what to buy, like all of the, kind of the boring stuff, right?
Hmm.
And so now what we've done is we've told ChatGPT these are the meals that we really love. So we've rated the meals. And so we say to ChatGPT, can you create a week's worth of meals? Not the same as what you did last week, week's worth of meals. And they have to be, I think we've said 7 or above.
Hmm.
So they have to be rated 7 or above. And ChatGPT creates everything to meet the needs that I have in terms of
Hmm.
calories, macronutrients, all of those pieces. It creates it all within seconds. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. And I recently did a little research. Somebody actually spent time researching this, but people spend on average 4 hours a week just thinking about and planning meals. Like that's a
Yeah.
huge chunk of time. And to have this tool that does all of that for you in seconds, it's like, it's mind blowing. And it's so incredible at the same time to free up potentially 4 to 5 hours of your week. It's like, it's insane.
And I think the other thing is, so this particular plan, lifestyle plan, there's a new weekly meal plan that gets released once a month. And so every month we have new recipes added to the repertoire. And it gets
Mhm.
to the point that it's actually a bit overwhelming because you've got so many recipes to choose from, many of which are really, really tasty.
Mhm.
And so we have all of these recipes, and you end up being paralyzed by the choices, right? Just
Mhm.
simply by overwhelm. And
Yeah.
so, like this particular Sunday that I went, I'm going to see what happens if I upload all of these recipes into ChatGPT, create my own custom GPT, tell it all the parameters on how I want it to operate and behave, and see what happens. And yeah, within seconds, I had a new meal plan. And then I was like, wow, what will it do if I tell it you can't give me the same thing for the following week? And sure enough, new meal plan, perfect. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it takes as with all GPTs, it takes a little bit of finessing. Um, because a lot of the meal plans already had so this is getting right down into the details and the weeds, but a lot of the meal plans already had used the previous night's meal as a lunch, and so ChatGPT had picked up on that and
Mhm.
so was trying to offer me the next day as a lunch, but we already use all of the servings because there's four of us in the household, so I didn't have a spare serving to have it. So I had to modify based on that. um but it's just it's testing and iterating, isn't it? Like you get the results back and you're like, oh, okay, it wasn't quite perfect. Here's how I need to give it some more instructions to make sure that I can change it so then it does come out perfect. But yeah,
Mhm.
like you say, the amount of time that one thing alone has saved for me is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure, of course, like setting up anything, it probably took a little bit of time to get all of that information into the GPT. But once it's there and it remembers and it refers back to that every single time. And again, it's just incredible how much time and mental energy it can save you.
And I think if you've already thought about what are the files that I need to give it to be able to learn, it actually
Hmm.
doesn't take that much time at all. I already had all of the recipes and the meal plans in a folder. So I literally just shared with it that folder that had access to all the information and everything like that on how this lifestyle was set up and everything. And
Hmm.
it accessed all of that. So it learnt all of that and then
Yeah.
was able to give me, really great advice. Yeah,
Yeah. That's true too. You're talking digital files, right?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking because I'm old school, I have like an actual binder with physical recipes in them, but I could take a picture and upload it that way, which would be faster than
exactly.
scanning everything. And it can read pictures like that too. So
Yeah, yeah,
again, that's a
exactly.
time saver. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've got, for those people listening, if you've got a favorite cookbook, check and see whether it's available as, an ebook or something, because that would already be a digitized file, be worth paying the money
Yeah.
to buy the digitized file and then just upload it into ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, Sarah, I want to ask, were you always a tech lover or did ChatGPT kind of win you over?
I think I've always been technically minded, put it that way. I've
Hmm.
never met a system that I couldn't, get to grips with or understand.
Hmm.
But I do have to say, with ChatGPT, I was really on the fence when ChatGPT first came out. I was curious, don't get me wrong. But there's so much of the unknown of what's happening with the data, like especially my clients were asking me whether or not they should be using it in their business. And
Hmm.
initially I was saying, oh, I don't feel confident telling you yes because we don't know how private the data is.
Right.
Um, so obviously I've moved on since then, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, I was definitely intrigued. And then, as I just started, as I do with any system, I don't know whether you're the same, Nicole, but any system that I come across, I just play with it. I just have a play with it. And the
Hmm.
more I played with it, the more I was going, oh, this is really quite cool. Oh, this is really interesting. Then I started to kind of get a little bit cleverer or clearer at crafting, like the prompts and that sort of thing. So I started getting better results back. And then, of
Hmm.
course, custom GPTs came along. So now I could focus its attention just on one function.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it was just the playing just kept growing and growing and growing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I might
And
have saved I might have saved 3 or 4 hours in meal prep, but now I spend time playing on ChatGPT instead.
I hear you there. And at the time of this recording, it is August, and ChatGPT 5, Model 5, was just released. Have you played with it yet, Sarah?
I haven't because I've had a busy couple of weeks. I'm very excited to get into it because now we're starting to talk about agentic AI,
Mm,
which will be really interesting. I have played with agents on other platforms,
okay.
not on ChatGPT. And I've been working with a couple of clients, building out some agents for them. So it'll be really interesting to see. I watched the interview with Sam Altman, who is his title CEO? I think his
Yeah.
title is CEO of
Yep.
OpenAI, which is the parent company of ChatGPT.
Hmm.
Um, and he was talking about how excited he was for this release and
Hmm.
how he really thinks it's going to completely transform the game all over again.
Yes. And so I had an opportunity to play with it this morning, actually, because same thing, I've had a very crazy week. And I did notice a big difference in the output. So I gave it some information. I was working on a landing page for my website, and I gave it, my brand voice and all of and that kind of information. And then I gave it the offer that I was working on, and I used to have to give it more prompts to make it sound the way I wanted it. This one picked it up immediately. I was so blown away at how good it was on like the first, second try. So it's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to play with it more and see what else it can do. But yeah, so far I'm pretty impressed. And
Yeah.
um, I have used agent mode again when it first came out, I think when everybody in the world was also using it. So I gave it three different tasks, and by the third task, it was quite slow. I think the system was getting pretty bogged down. But to watch it work, I was like, whoa, this is really cool because this is an actual agent that is actually thinking on its own, making decisions and going and doing its thing. Like it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's going to be the agentic AI is going to be pretty game changing, I think.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in well, the stuff that we've been doing with a couple of our clients, um, it's early days yet as far as testing how much time it's saving them. But it's considerable. It's noticeable time savings for them. Um, and the results are near on perfect. So, like dare I say it, probably better that they get from a human doing the task, just because of the
Mhm.
broad range of knowledge that the LLM can access.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's been a interesting journey, and I mean certainly from a couple of my clients, they're like, what else can we do? What else can we build now? Now that they've
Right.
seen it.
Yeah.
So yeah. And there's some really cool stuff happening in a lot of businesses using um those agents as well, those AI agents. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Very cool stuff. So when you were learning ChatGPT, you said it took a little bit to kind of get used to it and you were playing around with it, right? So it did take a little getting used to. Like, would you say that it's kind of easy to learn, or is there a steep learning curve?
Well, so I would offer everyone a hack. Ask ChatGPT. If you're fresh new to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to teach
Hmm.
you how to use it.
Yep.
It will literally do that. I think it's one of the greatest hacks, I think, when it comes to ChatGPT or any other large learning model,
Hmm.
um, is to think in a way, how will I describe this? Think in a way where if you can flip it around and get it to ask you questions that you then answer, that actually helps the machine to learn about you. Um, and also helps you to learn about how it thinks as well and how it interacts, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, if you are new to it, that I would suggest that. The second thing is I would just suggest playing around with it. Like,
Mhm.
listening to perhaps some of the ideas that we have here, thinking about how would that apply in my own life? Would
Right.
I want to use that? And having a play with it, seeing what the results are like for you.
Mhm.
And you too may somewhat be addicted to ChatGPT after this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that we just aren't used to, being able to ask the tool itself, how do I do this? And it gives you the answer. Like this, I think that right there is probably the learning curve because we've never had access to anything like this ever.
hmm hmm
So the fact that we do, like, that's a mindset shift for people. Like, just ask it, how do I do this? So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think, once you do it that a couple of times, um, I think you'll literally start to think in a different way of,
mhm,
oh, okay, I'll ask ChatGPT how it would approach the task before I even start to try it. So I'll give you an example of this. We were doing this is within my business, but you could use this personally as well. We were doing some outreach stuff to get articles published, that sort of thing, a little bit more publicity. And this one particular day, I was so frustrated with, like this feels like we're getting nowhere. So I just typed it into ChatGPT. How should we go about this?
mhm,
Basically, how should we go about getting articles published in magazines and getting more interview requests? And
mhm.
so ChatGPT came back and said, well, I can interview you and that would publish the articles. So here's the kicker, right? It said, tell me what magazines you want to be published in or what publications you want to be published in. I will
Mhm.
interview you in the style of that publication. So then your article is more likely to get accepted by it. Like
Whoa.
mind blowing. Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then another great hack. I don't know whether you use this one too much, but ChatGPT has a recording function. So
Hmm.
it would ask me a question in text form, and I would just hit record and start talking. And then it would summarize, because sometimes I was like train of thought going all over the place, but I I'm going to just record it. And
Yeah.
then ChatGPT would summarize what it was that I said and create an article from the answers I'd given to all the questions.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have used the record function. I like, so I've created a GPT for wellness. So I'm like keeping track of my movement activities, what I'm eating, just to help keep me on track, hold myself
Yes.
accountable. And rather than typing everything in all the time, I just talk to it. And it's so much faster. It's so much easier than trying to, like I said, type everything in. So yeah, that's such a cool function. And I feel like I've used it for other things too, but of course I can't think of it off the top of my head at the moment. Because I feel like I use it so much, I like forget what I've used it for?
Yeah, yeah, it just kind of becomes an extension in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it
Um,
does.
I just find if it's something that I'm going to pause and take some time to think about what I should type back in response, instead I hit the record button and I
Hmm.
just start talking. And then it gives it the chance to filter through what I've said and say, this is the pieces that I really wanted to know.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. So one of my favorite things that I've used ChatGPT for, I had to write a difficult email to a company who I was not pleased with. And
Mm-hmm.
well, let's just say the way I wanted to write it would not have been very professional. And so I typed in the entire situation. I typed in the entire email thread, that I had exchanged with this company and gave it all the information. And I said, okay, make me sound smart and intelligent, not whiny and complaining. And so it gave me a very succinct, factual, very nicely stated email. And I'm like, oh goodness, thank you so much, because I could have never, ever done that right now on my own.
Exactly. When you've got emotion involved, it's such a good way of using the GPTs as well. I'll quite often, if I've got a response, might be a similar kind of thing. I'm sending an email back. I'm a little bit annoyed about the situation or something like that. And I will type up the email, but then I'll put it into ChatGPT and say to Chat, can you please rewrite this as like nice Sarah, as nice Sarah would normally write it,
Hmm.
not slightly emotional, a little bit annoyed Sarah, right?
Yeah.
So, and it is perfect for that, just slightly changing the tone of, like what you were intending. And so my husband's out of a job because I used to go and read them to him and say to him, "What do you think about this email?" And he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds a bit stern. You need to change it." Now I just
Hmm.
dump it into ChatGPT and ChatGPT tidies it up for me.
Yep. It's the perfect assistant.
So good. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so for any woman listening who's feeling a little bit freaked out by AI, what would you say to her to help her dip her toes in and start to maybe actually enjoy it a little bit?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think ChatGPT is, well, for a start, actually, I'm going to wind back a little bit. You're
Hmm.
already using AI, you've just never realized it. That
Yeah.
is that is the reality, right? So this is not new technology.
Hmm.
This has been playing and influencing things in the background for a really long time.
Hmm.
It's actually over 10 years now since we have had AI involved in many of the things that you would interact with day to day.
Yeah.
Anything like any social media has had AI involved in that, helping to influence the algorithms, show you the content it thinks you need to know. That's all been AI generated. So the content hasn't been, I'll just be clear on that. But the way in which it's shown to you is
Yes.
all via AI. So from that premise alone, there's nothing to be fearful of. You've already been interacting with it. In fact, you could almost go as far as to say you're already a bit of a pro, right? You've been
Right.
interacting with it. So
Yes.
my suggestion would be jump onto ChatGPT. You can just get a free account to try things out.
Hmm.
Um, and have a play with it. But I would prompt ChatGPT, and the prompt would be something like, I'm new to using ChatGPT. How would you recommend I best start to learn how to use ChatGPT? And what should I start to use it for? And
Hmm.
ChatGPT will give you a whole lot of answers, and you can just pick one of those things and say, "Oh, okay, I'll use it. I'll try that." Um,
Yeah.
and then you're off and running. Then
Hmm.
you'll be on the slippery slope, which is now what else can I use it for? What else can I do with this?
Yes, exactly. Then you'll be joining Sarah in my club and, just doing
Yes,
something with ChatGPT
yes,
or Chatty G,
absolutely.
as I like to call it.
Chatty G. Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Oh,
We call
really?
it we call it chat for short in
Okay.
our business. Yeah. Chatty G. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it.
Oh, yes. And then I actually asked, I had a conversation with Chatty G and I told it, I'm like, okay, so I call you Chatty G. But if you could pick your own name, what would you like to be called? And it was like, oh, that is a fun question. I would like to be called Nova. And I forget, the reasoning it gave me, but I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of a cool name, for a robot machine. So yes, you can
Yeah.
ask it anything, and then you can just go off into these wild conversations and just, get lost and have fun with it too. So,
I posted on LinkedIn not long ago because I ended up in a conversation with chat that was chat giving me jokes about AI taking over the world. And it
Oh
was
God.
hilarious.
I bet.
Absolutely hilarious. I have no idea how we ended up there, but I was like, keep these puns rolling. This is hilarious.
Did you save that? I hope you saved it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was so funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so fun, like, those fun kinds of conversations you can have with it. And I was going to circle back to, being fearful and afraid. There's nothing to break. Like you can't mess it up. You're just typing, you're just asking questions, you're giving it information, it's giving you information. And so I think that's one thing I just wanted to add to our
Mm,
conversation is that, you can't you can't screw anything up. It's you're just simply typing and asking it questions. And if it needs more information, it's going to ask you, which is really neat too. So
yeah.
just
Yeah.
just an incredible tool that, like I've said, we've never had access to anything like this before. And now that we do, it's like the sky's the limit. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think you said at the top of the interview, I've used it for absolutely everything I can think of.
Hmm.
My husband and I were traveling to Europe last year and we had 2 days in Paris. I said to Chat, what should we do for 2 days in Paris? Give us, these are the sorts of things that we like to see when we go to a city. What should we do? And it gave us a full itinerary, told us what trains to take, like everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
incredible.
you know, I don't know, I spend quite a bit of time planning travel, especially travel for pleasure, right?
Hmm.
So to be able to have that just delivered to me in exactly what I wanted. So,
Yeah.
like we don't want to spend hours and hours roaming museums and things like that. That is not us.
Hmm.
So it gave us a totally different itinerary to somebody who would enjoy that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And it
For
was
sure.
it was just so good. And my friends actually, friends of ours, did exactly the same thing. They were in Paris for 24. No, they didn't even have 24 hours. 18 hours, I think they had. They said to Chat, give us an itinerary. We don't mind going at pace, but give us an itinerary so then we can see most of the highlights of the city. And they
Hmm.
literally just followed this thing and they got round more than we did in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
and they did
crazy.
it in about, it was something like they had 8 hours in the city and they saw more than we did in 2 days, just following the what chat gave them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. But that's what's so neat about it too, is that first of all, it's generative. So every response is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you ask it something and I ask it the same thing, it's going to tailor our responses to us because the more you use it, the more it gets to know you. So that's what's just so incredible about this tool also. I mean,
Yes.
we've all been using the internet. We've been using Google for, how 20 years now. And that has gotten better at tailoring responses due to AI technology, but now ChatGPT is like literally your assistant in your pocket all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gets to know you really fast.
Hmm.
I've been surprised and delighted so many times with responses that it's come back to me with, referencing a conversation that we had 2 or 3 weeks ago. And
Hmm.
it's pulled that in because that was relevant data to it.
Hmm.
And therefore made I'd probably forgotten about that conversation we had 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's pulled
Yeah.
that in and said, I remember that this was important to you, therefore I've included it. And
Hmm.
it's just so, so, so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and I heard with the new Chat GPT 5 that the memory is even better. So I can't wait to start using that and have it get to know me and, start remembering even more stuff. So I can't wait to see what that
Yeah.
does.
Do you think it will pull through from the previous versions?
So based on just the short amount of time that I used it this morning, I don't think that it did bring over much from because I was using ChatGPT 4, the
Yeah.
4 model. And it didn't seem to. I think it did a little bit, but I want to play with it a little more before I officially give an answer to that question, but
Mm.
my initial thought is no, it did not, which I was a little disappointed, I'm gonna say, because I did have to feed it some more information about my audience and things like that. Um, so yeah, like I said, I want to play with it a little more, but initially, it did not seem to.
Interesting. That is disappointing because I would have thought it would. For those
Yeah.
of you who are listening to the podcast, um, what we're talking about when we're talking about, but I just realized we're talking in tech speak, the different versions of ChatGPT.
Hmm.
I believe if you go onto the free version, you'll only get one option. But if you're on a paid version, there's actually a drop down at the top of, I think it's on the top left-hand side, isn't it, Nicole, of
Yes.
the
Yep.
screen, that gives you options as to which GPT you want to use. And the reason that that's important is because some of the GPTs have slightly different functionality. For example, and I forget the name of it. What's the one that came out after 4.0, the in between? What is that one? Zero something or other. I should have it open
Oh,
then.
yeah.
So even if we just look at the two now, ChatGPT 5 thinking, it tells you that it's going to give more thorough answers if you go into the thinking one. And that's similar to the previous version at 4.0. The other one, which we both forget the name of, was more of a deep research tool. And so
Hmm.
you would flick to that one if you wanted to do deeper research. You wanted it to go off and perhaps reference information on the internet, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so like that's what we're talking about when we're talking about different versions that are out there. So you usually have a choice to select. And the reason that they default it to the regular 5.0 is because, as you can probably appreciate, the thinking or the deep research models take a lot more resources to be able to run. And so they don't want people just, typing in what should I have for dinner to the thinking models, right?
Right.
So they want you to make a selected choice to switch over to the thinking models if you need
Hmm.
that extra capability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. I just suddenly thought, oh, we're delving into speaking a little technical and people might be like, what are they talking about 5.0? What's going on here?
You are so right. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah. So on the Positively Joyful Productivity Show, we align with joy. And so I would love to know, in addition to ChatGPT, what is one thing that you do for yourself that brings you joy?
Oh, when I saw this question, I was like, the obvious answer to me, dancing. Dancing brings
Oh.
me such joy. So, I try to dance twice a week, uh,
Okay.
but don't always make twice a week. So, even if it's just once, I attended dance class. I've danced all my life. And even if I get in just once a week, that just makes me so, so happy. But I love that you asked that question because there's so many things in my world that bring me joy.
Hmm.
It caused me to really have to go, oh, what is the top thing that I do just for myself?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. What style dancing do you do?
I do a bit of jazz and a bit of hip hop. It's kind of a blended kind of class, but I will tell you a
Oh,
funny story.
yeah.
So I do tap dancing badly, and I tried to teach. I tried to learn tap dancing as an adult,
Hmm.
and my dance teacher who was teaching jazz and hip hop to me, she started teaching me tap dancing,
Hmm.
and she could barely stand up straight most of the time because she was doubled over laughing at my
Oh no.
utter incapability to do tap dancing. And so it still eluded me. And so I bumped into another dancing teacher just a couple of weeks ago and said to her, would you take me for like private lessons? And she says, no, no, come to the group class because it'll be so much easier to come to. I'm like, oh, just going to enjoy everyone laughing at me because, like it's like when I put on tap dancing shoes, I have two left feet. It's the most
Yeah.
bizarre thing. For some
It's
reason, it just does not connect with me. But I'm determined. I'm
ah,
determined that I'm
good
gonna.
for you. Good for
In
you.
fact, I think I'll ask ChatGPT for some tap dancing resources on the internet,
Hmm.
and and I'll get a little bit of practice in before I go to this group class.
Yeah, good for you. Yes, I took tap, jazz, and ballet when I was very young, like under 10 years old. And it is an entirely different movement. That's all I
Totally.
remember. Yeah, it's all your feet and your ankles, and yeah, it's completely different. So I understand why it's very, very difficult. I feel like if I went back to it now, I would probably make everyone around me laugh too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not worried. If it brings them joy, then that's fine. They can laugh away. But yeah, I'm determined I'm going to conquer it in the next year. That is one of my missions. Yeah.
awesome. Oh, good for you. I love the tenacity. Oh, well, Sarah, this has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. I've really loved this conversation talking all about AI and ChatGPT. I think I can safely say it's our favorite tool. And
Yeah.
yeah, I loved chatting with you. So thank you again for taking the time to join the show today. And to my listeners, have a beautiful week ahead, and I will chat with you soon.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Absolutely.